Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Chair Sessions with Dr. D. I am super excited today to have Sugaray Rayford on the line with us. Sugaray Rayford is a multi-award winning and Grammy-nominated soul and blues artist who's currently touring to support his album, Human Decency. Sugaray is going to talk to us about his tour, his music, and the positive message and vibe that's resonating at all of his shows across the country. So with that, welcome aboard, Sugaray.
Hey, thank you, Dr. D. I appreciate it, brother.
All right. So I first became familiar with your music through Sirius XM Bluesville station, the B.B. King Bluesville. And interestingly, one of your awards is actually the B.B. King Entertainer of the Year Award. So let's start out. I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, how you found out about it and what your reaction was.
Well, it was wild because, I think I had been nominated for it maybe 5 or 6 times, and then a bunch of other different nominations. And in the blues world, when I came in, I was still a baby, so I had been shooting for it for a long time because it's like the blues version of the Grammy, And I had been honored that I'd been nominated so many times, but I was always up against literally giants of the scene and of the music. I think I lost to Bobby Rush once, Buddy Guy once. To a myriad of other great blues bands, and just try to be patient. So it was bittersweet that it came during the pandemic and I couldn't get up and give the spiel that I always wanted to spiel, but it still is an honor that the blues world recognized me as the Entertainer of the Year for that year. And I just can't, it's hard to even put it into words because if anybody said they don't like winning awards, they're full of crap. I love it, and it had been a long time coming, and a long time working forward to it, and I hope it's not the last one in my career.
All right, right. So you said you didn't have time to do your speech because of COVID, I guess, right? And everything was kind of shut down.
Yes.
So
yes.
Here it is. Do it now.
Well,
there you go. How's that for putting you on the spot, right?
That's pretty good. No, it was just. During the COVID, there was so much went on that, like I said, I got the Grammy nomination. I think I got the Living Blues Awards, and I was even nominated for the Maple Leaf Award in Canada, and signed a deal with George Benson's manager to be my manager. Signed with UTA, the third largest booking agency in the world. Was nominated for that year. That was 2019, 2020. Nominated for the B.B. King Entertainer and some other awards. So I was riding high. I had gigs all over the world set up to go. And then my wife came down with stage 4 cancer. COVID hit, and all these nominations hit at the same time. So it was just kind of bittersweet with the Grammy nomination and B.B. King because I never really got to mentally and physically enjoy them the way I wanted to. And literally, it's taken me a while to kind of get back on my feet, to even want to get back in the industry and start touring and all that stuff. But I'm back in with the entire body now, and I just want to put that out there. It was just a weird time for everybody, but that was very weird. All that happened for me in like a 45-day period.
Wow.
So
wow.
Grammy nominations, B.B. King Entertainer, wife's cancer, COVID.
Wow. What a whirlwind. What an emotional whirlwind, right?
Yeah, it had me on the rope-a-dope, as they say, on the ropes.
Yeah, and I think bittersweet probably as much as it probably doesn't even capture it the way that it should. So hopefully things are kind of stabilizing now. You've still got a lot of great stuff going on. Music, I would imagine, has that been therapeutic?
It can be. I always write in my journal, which is where a lot of songs come from, and of course, the wordsmith himself, my producer now, Mr. Eric Corne. I've been blessed to work with a lot of great musicians and writers through my musical recording. But I get most of my therapy from actually being on stage and being in front of people.
All right,
that live connection, that live synergy between me and those people. That's what therapy really comes in.
Wow, and that's evident when in your performances. Dynamic performer, animated, real entertainer. Back to the to the B.B. King Entertainer Award. So what's How did BB King influence you? Is that part of your, where you got the entertainer style?
No, the entertainer style came from church, man. That came from gospel,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up in the church from the age of 5, and not like the Baptist church or Methodist church, but what we call the Holiness Church, Church of God in Christ. So, some of the greatest musicians and singers in the world came out there, and that's where that came from. It was basically either put up or shut up. So there was always someone there ready to take his spot, or and I always tell people, being a musician in church back in those days was hard. I'm not sure how it is today, but back in those days, it was hard because you didn't get paid. You played for the quote unquote glory of God,
right?
And people had no problem with coming up telling you what you did wrong, what you could do better, or you shouldn't be doing this at all. So once you really got through the church, if you got out, you were already professional, and anything that the regular world could throw at you, you had been through that and then some.
All right, right on. So part of it coming in from the church, I would imagine you learned how to channel that spirit.
Oh, definitely.
Right. And
channel it and hold on to it.
Channel it, hold on to it. And I love what you're doing. You are sharing it. You're spreading it out across the world.
I've been blessed. Very blessed. Very blessed. I mean, this year alone, we've already been to Japan, Switzerland, the UK, and Spain. So then we already have things set up for next year. We're looking at going back to India in March, and then probably the Byron Bay Festival in Australia in April. So that's already set, as well as the end of this year. I think I'm in, I know for sure I'm in Belgium in November, Belgium, Germany, and a few other places. So it's worldwide. Been blessed.
Wow. And it sounds like it could get grueling. I was looking at your schedule. Wow. Yeah. So anything that you do particularly to kind of keep you grounded, sleeping well? I mean, it's got to be rough on the body and the mind and the spirit at some point, right?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I spent 10 years as a Marine also, and I grew up in the country, in the city and the country, but a lot in the country. So, I'm used to working hard. I'm used to going, before I started this too, I started last year, really getting myself back in shape and doing some small runs and whatnot. And once I went back to Intrepid Artists, and let me say thank you to IntrepidArtists.com down in Charlotte. They've been great at booking me, and I'm glad to be with them again. When I told them that, I was really ready to go back out and tour, I said I didn't want to be as tense as I used to be, because I used to go out, for 3-4 months at a time. But they were like, okay, and I was shocked at the response of the different venues that was willing to have me come out, even though I had kind of taken a bit of a sabbatical there to get things together at home and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use, the one thing I'm using this year on this particular tour I hadn't used before is I had been seeing these people use these little inhalers that with saline water. And I have bought one of those and I've been using it. And I must tell you, I've done up to 9 days in a row, 9 actual shows in a row in 9 different cities and several different states, and still had my voice, even the way I sing. And in the past, I was always strong. I could probably do 4 shows before I needed a break or two, a day or two else to let my voice get together. But now it's been like 9 shows in a row. So I've been doing 9 to sometimes 7 shows in 7 different cities in a row.
Oof.
And that has been amazing.
And holding up.
His voice has been holding up.
All right.
So and not sore, which is big.
Very, very good. Very cool. And so did you come back with a revived spirit too?
Oh, definitely. That's one of the biggest things, it's like being able to come back and do what I needed to do, and haven't had that time off. Because the other thing I realized during the pandemic, as I was telling people on stage, when during the pandemic, I hadn't realized it's been 18 years basically that I've been running straight without any time off. So
wow.
So it helped me work out mental problems. It helped me work out physical problems. I was able to spend time getting my wife well and just being there for her for whatever she needed, emotionally, physically, or whatever. So now I'm in a space where I don't have that worry and some of those other worries I had on my head, and I can actually enjoy touring again, because I always enjoyed touring. Because again, I like to meet people. So as far as the body wise, yeah, man. One of the biggest things I did was I bought her a tour bus. It's It's a Mercedes, like a Sprinter, but it's bigger than a Sprinter.
Ooh, nice.
That's helped a lot because, instead of us being crept in my E350 van we've already done almost 9,000 miles on this tour.
Oof.
And I still got to drive back to the West Coast after the show on the 24th. It's just this crazy thing. So, I stay in shape. I do my crunches, my push-ups every night, my little standing squats and whatnot, and just trying to keep myself as mobile as I can. What I need to work on more out there, and I know those that are into the fitness world, I need to work on my stretching a little bit more. I'm pretty bad with the stretching, but I do my crunches, my squats, and my push-ups. I do that nightly. Nothing crazy, just a few sets to make my body feel warm and burn off that excess energy and fat and before I go to bed. So I'm doing that. And
all
then
right.
hopefully,
Shazam, and then you're ready.
Hydrated. Yeah.
And then you're ready for the stage.
That and staying hydrated. Oh, man, nobody sweats like me.
So I just want to mention to the listeners the name of the tour, Till the Wheels Fall Off Tour. So let's hope no wheels are falling off.
Oh, they actually did up in the White Mountain Boogie, up in the mountains. Didn't realize I was getting gas. And, my home is in Arizona and Los Angeles. I keep the bus at my house in Arizona, so it's so hot and the tires get dry right. You don't realize it. So literally 4 days ago, I was getting gas, and I was like, what is that on my tire? And I go over there and look, and the tires are totally bald. The caps are coming off on one. And I'm like, holy crap. And I'd have to see your picture. You'd be shocked. We made it to this tire place that was like 50 miles away once we woke up the next morning, and I wound up and changed all 4 dually tires on the back. But
oh, wow.
When they pulled them off and showed them to me, I was like, okay, till the wheels fall off.
Man.
I'm glad you said that. I'm actually have to put that up.
That's a wild story. It didn't delay any of the tour at all, though, right?
No,
good.
That's the whole crazy thing. Cool. I don't know what angel, what karma, what energy that was sitting on our shoulders, but we should have been on the side of the road somewhere days and weeks ago. I mean, when I tell you that the tire was gone, even pieces of the side of it had come out.
Oh, no.
And it was all 4 tires in the rear, and I had no idea. And I'm usually very meticulous about checking everything, but it was in a spot that I couldn't see. But thank goodness. So no, we've made all the shows. We had one show that canceled because it just couldn't. Tourism has been down, so trying to do shows in the middle of the week especially if you're doing them at prestigious clubs. Not that all clubs are not prestigious. I treat every club the exact same, but some clubs have a bigger name. It's you may get 50 or 60 people, but that doesn't cover their overhead. Right. So you're like, well, well, then we just have to go somewhere else because sales have been down, and that's the biggest thing for artists now is that a lot of venues want you to have these enormous pre-sale numbers. Yeah. And since COVID, pre-sale numbers are just not what they used to be and won't be. Now the day of show, people come in and buy tickets. Yeah, but they're just not doing pre-sales that much anymore. Yeah,
and I think that's a general thing overall, which I've heard over the last month or so have been on that trend. So, but you mentioned about being in the Marines. I want to thank you for your service too.
I always tell people I didn't do it for some patriotic reason. I did it to get out of the country in my ghetto house, my grandma's house, because I was like, well, at least if I go in the Corps, I get 3 houses and a cot in at least 4 years and figure out what it is I want to do. Now, I loved it once I was in, but that was the whole reason I joined.
Well, that's all right.
Way out.
You did it, and you're out, and now I'm sure it's shaped you in some way, like you were talking about.
Yes.
It's prepared you for touring even, right?
Oh yeah. You got to be disciplined.
Absolutely.
And as I tell a lot of young cats, this is called the music business. So I always try to show up on time. I always try to do what I said I would do and honor the contracts that I'm with, and it just give you this determination and this focus and this thought, and also always try to be a man of your word. So if I say I'm gonna do it, even if it costs me, I'm gonna do it. So that's just the way, and the Corps helps you reinforce that. Yeah.
Amen.
I also want to mention that people never mention this, and I don't want to slight the state that I've moved to. I lived in California for 40 years, but for the last 12, 13 years, I've lived in Arizona. And I want to say thank you to the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame for inducting me into the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame. That is cool.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure, and with the way things are going, I'm sure you've got more great stuff coming your way. You mentioned Eric Corne, and I'm glad you mentioned it first, although you beat me to it. I've been following him and what's going on with his 40 Below Records, is it?
40 Below Records.
40 Below Records. Well, you and Eric Corne working together on the last 3 albums, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Making magic. Making magic. So tell me about the collaboration with Eric Corne, how that came about, and what's the vibe?
Well, it's weird. Again, I had just, I think I had been post-Managed Boyz. I don't know if you know about the Managed Boyz.
I was going to ask you about them too, yeah.
But I was lead singer of the Managed Boyz for quite a time and did a few albums with them, which also won, they also won Traditional Album of the Year 2013 for Double Dynamite, a double CD album. Having said that, I had gone out on my own because Randy Sharkoff, the president, leader of the Managed Boyz, president of Delta Group Records, passed away, and things that, and I've always been blessed for Randy because he circumvented years of me touring by making me the lead singer of the Managed Boyz. Having said that, I literally had just come back off a world tour. I had been out like 7 months. I didn't even fly home. I flew directly to Memphis because I had promised Miss Barbara Bailey Newman, the president who was the president of the blues organization, not Blues Society. She was in charge of all the Blues Foundation. Couldn't get that out. She was the president of the Blues Foundation, and she had asked me, like, I want to make sure you're here. We need your presence and blah, 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 blah. And so I flew from, I think it was, I want to say Romania or somewhere.
Oh, wow.
From there directly to Memphis. So I was exhausted. I was beyond tired. And I just started working with intrepid artists at that time, maybe a little bit before that. And anyway, I was sitting there in Memphis, and my friend 𝘱🐸 Richardson was playing at the Orpheum Theater in Memphis, and he had asked me to come down to sit in. And I remember standing on the corner. My wife flew in to meet me because I hadn't seen her for 2 months. She flew in to meet me, and I remember standing on the corner of the Orpheum right there on Bourbon, and I'm standing there in a suit and everything, and I'm just like, man, I'm exhausted. I come all the way down here, but I don't have the energy to go in and play. I got nothing left. And just about that time, Rick Boothburn from Intrepid Artists walks up and says, "Hey, Sugar, how you doing?" You can see that I look tired. My eyes were burnt out. He said, "Listen, I got this guy that wants to meet you." And I was like, "Rick, man." And before I realized, he was like, "Hey, man, this is Eric Corne, blah, blah, blah." And it was funny because Eric had never heard any of my other stuff. The only album he had heard was the one I recorded with the Italian Royal Family and the Daptones in Rome, Italy in 2017.
Oh.
The album called The World We Live In. He had only heard that. And at that point, I had decided to kind of move over to the soul blues side because there was so much rock blues going on. And I'm not a guitarist. And I was like, well, I can bring back that Tyrone Davis, that Bobby Bland,
right.
Bobby Womack feel back to the blues world. There's still those fans out there that want that. And so I met Eric there, and he wanted to talk business. And I said, no, my wife is my manager. We want to talk business, talk to her. Let's exchange info. And then we find out, oh, yeah, he lives in L.A., literally about 5 miles from where we live. And so literally that next 3 days later, we were having a meeting in Van Nuys, California. And I told him, I said, at the time I had 3 different contract offers in front of me. And I was like, I don't want to go back. I love what I did with the Managed Boyz. I said, but I don't want to go back to doing just a regular 1-4-5 blues just of yet. I want to stretch out a little bit and have a little fun. I was really enjoying what Sharon Jones was doing, Charles Bradley, Lee Fields. Matter of fact, at that time, Amy Winehouse's horn section was my horn section. It had been my horn section for like 10 and a half years, if you go and look at those guys. Aaron Litter, Giles Straw out of London. And so after doing that Where We Live In album, I had got the taste of that. And I was like, I really want to do that. And so, Eric being such a freaking, he's a wordsmith. It's just that you can give him concepts. I would pull concepts out of my journal, and he'd come back within a few days and with a melody or something, and I'm like, wow, and start writing. We start writing and get in the studio, and like, man, it's just amazing to see the process of working with him. He's done a great job, and I think that we're still thinking about doing maybe 1 or 2 more albums together.
Awesome. So things were flowing pretty smoothly throughout.
Very much. Even during the pandemic. Remember, we signed we signed right before the pandemic hit, so all that crazy stuff was going on too.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I noticed a lot of Eric's what Eric's putting out with his songwriting. A wordsmith, great songwriter, and your songwriting also. So the two of you together, like I said, magic, the collaboration, pure synergy, and I love what you guys are putting out there and what's coming out of 40 Below. And so just real quick, so that was the Manish Boys. Aunt Kizzy'z boys. I saw some. Tell me, you want to say a little bit about?
Way back.
Yeah. Because let me tell you, that was some great stuff there too.
Thank you, man. That came about. Wow, you making me go back now to the beginning. That came about. I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I got out of the Corps when my son was born because I wanted to be there for him. But my ex and it just didn't work out. But I was still there for my son. So at the time, I was a bodyguard and a bouncer for years there in Carlsbad, California. And when I met my now wife, who was at that time my friend, she saw me sit in with some rock band at the club. It was a rock club, and people were amazed because this big black guy at the time, bouncer, was singing this song, even though I didn't know the words. A melody is a melody is a melody. So I'm making stuff up, but it's and performing at the same time, and people they were just staring because they just know me for the guy beating the crap out of people or throwing people out. But my girlfriend or my friend, wasn't even my girlfriend, my friend Pam, who was now my wife, saw that, and she was just like, you really need to do music. Your entire soul lit up, blah, blah, blah. I said, I love music. It's great, but I have a child, and you can't make a living doing it. So I said, at that point, I was working 3 jobs. I was working during the day for Sharp Mission Park, so I made sure I had insurance. I was working for myself as a bouncer and bodyguard. So I had 3 jobs. I was literally working 3 jobs, usually 5 to 6 days a week, but worked 7 days a week, every day. Did that for years and years and years. Having said that, she finally convinced me to start doing music. So I started playing with this. We put together this group of people I knew at the club called the Urban Gypsies. And we started doing just R&B and stuff like that, 70s, 80s, 90s cover songs. Well, the band blew up. Next thing you know, we got an all night at the Belly Up. We're doing corporate gigs, blah, blah, blah. And all these guys in the band are pretty well-known guys. But no one wanted to write original music. And once it got to a certain point, it was like, okay, it's great. Yeah, I can do Marvin Gaye all day or McFadden Whitehead, but I got these ideas in my head.
Yeah.
I think we wrote one original song together called Butt Naked. And that was as far as they were willing to go. But then I had heard blues because when I was a bouncer right across the street from us was this other bar called The Alley. And they had this huge bay window in front. And every Wednesday night, which particularly Wednesday nights is the night that I bounce by myself, it's a very slow night, so it was usually just me and one bartender. So I could stand at the front of the club across the street, and they had this great blues band to play like every Wednesday night, most Wednesday night, called Running Lane and the Texas Twisters. And man, that place would be packed, and it'd be booties wiggling and everything else jiggling. And for me, I'm standing over there like, man, I can't hear the words, but the music sounded like the gospel that I grew up with. Ooh. Because it's the same thing. So I'm sitting there like, man, and so finally I had the nerve one time. I went across the street and stood right by the bay window because I could see my club and their club. So after that, they saw me in the window, and the bass player, Tim, I can't remember Tim's last name now, and I love that guy. Tim saw me and said, man, you like blues? I said, I really like the sound of that, man. It sounds just like the gospel I grew up in East Texas. And I remember him giving me this paperback book that had 2,300 songs, the words and the music in it. Whoa. And that was crazy. And then by this time, me and my now wife were friends with benefits to say. And she used to go and buy CDs and have me listen to them. And then by this time I stopped bouncing for one reason or another. I stopped bouncing, stopped the bodyguard work. And I'm standing there, and she would drive me to these jams, and literally I learned the song in the car. We buy a CD that day, or tape rather that day. I learned the song in the car, and then go in hopefully that the bands in there knew how to play it and then sing that song. And from that, that led to me, her signing me up to do this jam in Temecula, California. And I would go there and I meet this guy, Dwayne Hathaway was a drummer, and the guy could really play. We had a blast. And then so I go back the next week, and Dwayne brought in this guy named Jimmy King, and we have a blast again. Oof. And because by this time I had left the Urban Gypsies, and probably like a few days after we did that second jam together, I got a call from them, and they were doing a big festival called the Idlewild Jazz Festival. Well, they already had a singer, 2 keyboard players, a guitar, blah, blah, blah. They asked me to come in, and I was nervous because I'm like, man, we're going to sing in front of all these black people. And I don't mean anything racist about it. It's just that black people will let you know whether, it used to be white people were a little more courteous at that point. They clap, because the clap wasn't as enthusiastic as you thought. But black people weren't going to clap. They're going to come and tell you, like, not everybody meant to sing. Some people meant to be the usher. They'll tell you. So I was freaking out. Anyway, it went great. Blew it up, had fun. The first big show I played probably in almost 20 years or 18 years. And from there, I think it was 2 weeks later, I get a call from Dwayne and Jimmy asking me if I wanted to join the band. And I was like, yeah, but you guys got a lead singer, blah, blah. And unbeknownst to me, they had already let that guy go and the keyboard player go and reform the band around me, with me, Jimmy, Dwayne, Big Joe,
wow,
Michael Mack, and my buddy Mo.
So you became the lead singer
for history.
Wow.
For 𝐻𝐾�zzy'ｓ Boys.
For 𝐻𝐾�zzy's's
and
Boys.
Next thing we were playing, at one point we played 300 shows a year. We did that for 2 years. And then we started touring out of the state a little bit, and went to Europe, down to Missouri. And then the San Diego Lovers United, Blues Lovers United said, why don't you come down for the IBC? And I said, what is the IBC? And they were like, it's the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And so, we had already released one album. I think we had released the album Trunk Full of Blues. We had done that independently. And so we went down. We beat out all the competition in Southern California, and they paid our way to go down to Memphis. And we got down there, and I was like, I had been going to Memphis every year on the gospel side when I was younger, because it's where the Church of God in Christ on this national convocation. But it was weird to be there on the blues side.
Wow, nice.
Down on Bourbon Street and whatnot. And, we that was 2005, and we competed with the IBC. We took second place. Some people say we took first. There was a big thing in the paper. There was a big hoopla going on, whatever. From there, we never looked back. We just kept rolling. We just kept rolling. Then we went to Los Angeles, and we were invited to a thing called the Lamb Jam, which was the Los Angeles Music Network. It wasn't a jam, as it was a showcase. And so there were A&R there from Epic Records, from a bunch of the big R&B labels at the time. And, we were an older band, and all the kids that were around us was the 18, 19, 20, those band, but we beat them out. Ooh. And got our first distribution deal with this company called RBC. And that was the beginning. And I was like, wow. And, 𝐻𝐾�zzy's's Boys probably would have still went on, but it got to a point where I wanted more, if that made sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to do more. And by now, I had moved to Los Angeles and started running 𝐻𝐾�zzy's's, and I don't know if you even know about that, but that is where my career really just blew up. Once I started running 𝐻𝐾�zzy's's and, playing with people like Luther and Slash and hanging with Al Cooper and all these big name guys, and that changed everything.
Yeah. So, but you put out some great stuff with 𝐻𝐾�zzy's's Boys. It sounded like it was a stepping stone, and like you said, you kind of you can appreciate what you did there, and now and now here you are today.
It's crazy because I was trying to remember solo albums. I have 7, but I am probably on something like 30 or 40, 35, 40 different albums, and sometimes I forget how many different things I've done. So it's kind of crazy.
Well, that's when you're putting a lot of your creativity out there. I'm sure that's what happens. So let's get back to the current tour. So you want any big tour highlights so far that have gone on since this tour has been rolling?
Well, the whole thing has been great. It's been weird because I always travel with my horns. This particular tour, because financials are not what they were just 2-3 years ago. Yeah. This particular tour I came as the 5-piece, and I've been shocked how well the 5-piece has done and how well it has been accepted, considering that literally for I've played for years and years and years with the horns around the world in the country, and people are used to me coming with horns. and I've been very, and I still will use my own horse. It's just this particular tour just wasn't financially
Yeah.
rewarding enough to bring eight individuals out.
Yeah. 8 extra
Having said
people.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, having said that, it's been amazing, the response from the small shows to the festivals to the theater dates, and a lot of these places are places that I had never played before. So it was nice to go in and people recognize who you are, and even if they didn't, at the end come up and say, "Man, I can't believe I hadn't heard you," and we appreciate the music and the energy and the entertainment. So it's
Fantastic.
been great. All of them have been great.
Yeah. So you're gaining momentum with every venue, I'm sure.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about the album, because this tour is in support of the album entitled Human Decency.
It is partially. You come to what? That's why I didn't. That's why last year we actually did a bit of a Human Decency tour.
Okay.
But things were just kind of, we probably played maybe 80, 90 dates, and I couldn't peel off and do like I needed to do. This year I called it the Wheels Fall Off tour because, like I said, we've been on road basically 5 months. In the last 5 months, I think I've been home in maybe 15 days, and starting from January. So I said, to the Wheels Fall Off because I wanted, because of the pandemic, I never really got the tour behind In Too Deep or Human Decency. So at the shows, I'm playing a bit of all those albums to really push them out there and give them the life that they had deserved to have. Because, like I said, In Too Deep was released during the middle of the pandemic. Somebody saved me. We got the tour behind because that came out in 2018, and the Grammy situation was 2019. But the album since then all came out during the pandemic. So this tour is, I am doing songs from Human Decency, I'm pushing that, but I'm also doing songs from In Too Deep and Blind Alley and Southside and all the other albums. So it's, for me, what's really cool is to be able to do 90 minutes of music, or even 2 days worth of music, and never have to do anyone else's songs, because I have enough material to do that on my own. That to me is amazing, because I don't really like to play a set list. So I have so many great albums, I feel, and so much great music that, though it's being played on the radio, it's being played on XM, it's different when you play it live, because there's a different energy and a different temper. So I'm pulling songs from maybe 5 or 6 different albums.
Oh, very cool. So when people are coming to the shows, if they're going to multiple shows, is it a different show at each venue?
Anybody that tells you if they saw me 5 days in a row at 5 different venues, it was a different show.
Oh,
all 5 shows.
Right on.
And the energy is the same. I'm still crazy, still out there sweating like crazy, but the songs are totally different.
Nice.
There's no set that. But I stopped doing. I've been that way always, because I used to be like, man, I am not about to go out here and tour for 5 months and play the exact same songs in the exact same order. I'd be ready to just just Cal gonna take me away. But so and I feel that way for the musicians too. This way, everyone stays crispy, everyone stays fresh, and it's challenging, and the audience gets that energy.
Fresh.
Constantly. Yeah.
So are you making up the set list as you're playing, like for the venues, or you...
Yes, for the guys' benefit, the first 5 songs, I give them the first 5 songs.
Okay.
And that's a new development. All the years before, the band just had to learn my entire catalog, and I might call a song that I hadn't played in 3 years. But my band before, all those years before the pandemic, they could pull them. The new bands, they know about 75% of my material, so that gives me stuff. I can pull stuff that I did from 11 years ago and just play it. So it gives me a large canvas to paint with and a lot of brushes to paint on that canvas.
Yeah, very nice. I want to talk a little bit about In Too Deep. That was 2022 release. Yes. Again, you did that one with Eric Corne at 40 Below. And I think it won a Soul Blues Album of the Year in 2023, right? That one?
Yeah, Soul Blues Album of the Year, and they won a couple other awards, but yeah, that was a big one too.
Very powerful. So I was listening to that one, and a couple of tracks really just powerful lyrics, powerful music. Invisible Soldier and Please Take My Hand. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, visceral.
Thank you.
When you listen to those, it hits it. You feel it. And it's funny because you have a way I'll call this is one of your superpowers. You have a way of getting these very meaningful, deep lyrics, thought-provoking lyrics that get you thinking about things, issues, messages, let's say social justice. But the way that you convey it with the music and the lyrics, put it all together, it's fun. So you're like bopping it.
But I take that from Prince, because I tell people all the time, it's sugar and vinegar. At the shows, or like a lot of people only listen peripherally when they at the show. I've learned that. So at the shows, I rap everything in soul, blues, and funk with the horns and the B3 really rolling. I told that to Eric. And the other thing is, with all my music, I never sing anything that I haven't actually lived.
Okay, so
that helps a lot.
So it's all coming from deep within
life.
your
actual life.
Yeah, your actual life. So you're not telling stories. You're telling your stories.
Right. Like
your real life stories.
Invisible Soldier was the first time I finally decided to talk to someone about my PTSD besides just my wife, and I figured that it would help other vets also. But you get to a certain age and you're like, you know what? But before that, I always kept that stuff inside. That's what Invisible Soldier is about. And Please Take My Hand is just this. You know what, man? Let's stop all this crap about color and religion and politics. We're all just humans. You know, and we're the 99% of the world, and the 1% has got us fighting each other while they get richer and richer and making stuff for their children to be richer and richer, and we're being stupid and not allowing them to do it. Let's cut out all the peripheral crap and realize people are just people. Everybody wants the same thing: clean water, a warm place to sleep, and the same thing or better for my children. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Indian, whatever the hell.
Amen.
That doesn't mean anything. I always tell people, if aliens came back and said they was killing humans, they didn't just say they was killing Caucasians or blacks or Mexicans. They said they was coming back to kill humans. But I don't want to get in a tirade on that. It just bothers me. It just bothers me that people have these weird separations in their mind. Yes, there are differences, but the differences should be celebrated. Otherwise, we just be some AI controlled.
That's it.
Monolithic thinking. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, let me
Eric is such a wordsmith.
Yeah.
That he takes those words and musically, and he allows me to be myself. And he's really good at, sometimes like I'm trying to say something, he's so good at actually distilling that down to the essence where people understand it viscerally.
Yeah, viscerally. And that's what really resonates in that In Too Deep album. I could see why it won the Album of the Year award. Like I said, those two tracks for me really stood out. In my 9 to 5, I do work in a mental health profession, and I work with people with PTSD. So I could relate to it on a couple of different angles. So very powerful, and I'm sure that people that listen to that can really relate to it find something positive and healing in it.
I hope so. I mean, so far I have a lot of vets come up to me, and we just did a show a few days back in Athens, New York, and when I got there, it's a great, beautiful place, but the Empire Festival has been going on for 25 years, and all the guys that run it are all vets, Marine, Army, Navy, Air Force vets. Felt like I was at home with those guys, and as soon as I pulled up, they wanted me to start the set with Invisible Soldier.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. So
that's
that other vets dig it.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great when you can you connect with a group of people that are going through some pretty traumatic stuff. Human Decency. Now let's talk a little bit about that one. So that's the latest one.
And that was pretty much, that came about all Eric. He had this idea, but he knows me. Like I said, I don't live anything I don't sing anything I haven't lived or that I believe in. I don't just sing a song to sing a song. It's been my policy, and because I want to make sure I'm a live guy. So whenever I sing on the album, I'm going to play live. And I want to be able to stand in front of an artist and be honest and feel honest, and not so I can give 100% and not have 10, 20% conflicted that I'm singing something I have no idea about. So when he came up with the Human Decency and what we started talking about and collaborating, I was just like, dude, this is really cool. The whole album, the album is pretty heavy. My only big thing was I told him at the end of the album, we kind of need something to lighten the palate. We need a palate cleanser. I say, because this album's pretty heavy. Even though it's positive, it's still heavy.
It was, it's heavy.
It's heavy, so that's why we can. Yeah.
That kind of sums it up. It gets you in light of all the heaviness. When 𝐴HA comes on at the end, I'm sure people can be dancing in the aisles.
They can be, but again, it's 𝐴HA, you know, and Eric modified it a little bit because I wrote that song a while back, and he modified the horns a little bit. But when you see it live, it's a little different because it's a song that I've been playing for about 8-9 years with the band, even before Eric Corne. But that song is for my grandmother because my grandmother had all those great sayings, and then 𝐴HA was one of them. You know, and that 𝐴HA carried a whole paragraph of meanings and different connotations depending on how she used it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So yeah, and that's why we also put in things like "Gonna Lift You Up" and things like that because you know, some of the stuff is heavy material. It's funky. We try to keep it funky so that it doesn't feel heavy when I'm playing in front of the audience. But the whole way we were writing, the whole way we write is at the club scenes, we want you to be able to have a good time. When you're at home having your morning coffee, or you're at night sitting down with your lady, or you have a listen thing, and when you're not dancing around and you listen to what I'm singing about beyond the music, then you're like, whoa, what did he say? You know, like, well, wait a minute, what did this? I thought the song was, oh wow, okay, that's the reaction I want. I want an album that gives, you know, if you listen to it 4 or 5 times, depending on your state of mood and your state of awareness, every time you listen to it, it's a little different because it has depth and it's not just it's not just a folly. It was written purposely, every song and placement of the songs. So, you know, I hope that comes through.
Oh, it definitely comes through. It definitely comes through. And like you said, it's the depth. The depth comes in layers. I think the layers are revealed when you listen to it after the first time. If you go back and you listen to it again, like you said, you're listening to it on a different layer. The first time maybe you heard it, you're kind of dancing around. Like you said, it's funky. It's got some cool grooves. Second time, maybe the lyrics are resonating a little stronger. You're like, whoa, yeah. That definitely comes out, and that's the vibe that I love, that you are bringing this positive vibe, this positive message, not only across the country but across the world.
Well, like I said, man, you know, there's enough freaking negativity, you know.
Yeah.
Thank God for the Mother Teresa's. People snark at that type of thought now, but you know, your grandparents and whatnot, they have that. They had a sense of fairness and stability, and I just want to remind people that we're all in this together, regardless of what you think. You know, whether you're privileged or underprivileged or neo-privileged or monolithic privilege or none, we're in this together. No one can do it alone.
That's right.
We're in this together. And once people finally realize that, and I don't know if they ever will, but if I can at least turn another 15, 20 people onto it, then before I leave this planet or shuffle off of this mortal coil or change over from this existence, then I feel that I had a life well spent.
Well, you're off. I mean, it's like on a great start. The momentum is awesome. And I, like I said, I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. I want to wish you the best of luck on this tour. And let's talk real quick. The Lizzie Rose Music Room in New Jersey at the Jersey Shore in Tuckerton. You're going to be there Friday, August 22nd. Doors at 7, shows at 7:30. Intimate little venue. The audience is going to get such a treat. They're going to be able to groove and feel the funk and the message, the vibe. Looking forward to that. I forget, have you been there before?
I've never been there before. Almost. Literally, I would say 70% of this tour is places I've never been, because I always play big theaters and I always play festivals and concerts. So this year, next year, we're concentrating on me touring in the States. So I'm doing smaller venues up to larger venues because, you know, even though I've won all these awards and I have all these things, and I don't know how much time we got, but let me talk about real quick.
Talk all you want,
the things that people don't know. The McDonald's commercial, the ba-da-ba-ba-ba, the original one, that's me.
Whoa. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Yes, right now I also have two out for Michelob Ultra Gold. When you listen to those commercials, that's me. I've done them for Hennessy. I've done them for Jim Beam. Did the cover of the Elvis song for Jim Beam. Cadillac. I have my voices in like 5 different movies and probably
Nice.
8, 9 different television shows. You know, I did the theme show for the Judge Joe Brown show. But you know, I've done a lot. It's like, but people don't know that in theater. But having said all that, they need to know when I play, I came to entertain. And entertainment to me is playing great music, telling great jokes, and just, you know, the audience for me is part of the show. So be aware that when you come to my show, I'm gonna talk to you. I may come over there and give you a lap dance, for God's sake. We're gonna have a good time.
Right on. Looking forward to the show Friday night at the Lizzie Rose. I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you for doing what you do and the way that you do it. Keep resonating those positive vibes and spreading it as far as you can. Sugaray Rayford, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, brother. I truly appreciate it. To all your listeners out there, thank you for keeping live music live. Blessings to you.
The road ahead looks awful tough. Many miles to go, it may get rough. There will be times